My brother and his wife were visiting my home in Anchorage, after treating me poorly. Electricity is expensive, so we'll live here until spring. Unlimited AC use, how comfy. Bridget, we're borrowing your place for a while, so please leave. Sister-in-law Libby announced. I simply replied, sure, good luck with that. Confused, Libby said, what? But I left my house anyway. 2 days later, the tragedy that befell Libby was... My name is Bridget. I'm 60 years old. Born in Alaska, I now live in Anchorage with my husband Ricky. I work part-time at an insurance company, and Ricky, though 63, manages apartments. We both still work, supporting each other. I have a brother and a younger brother, neither of whom have children. Ricky is an only child, so there's no one to carry on our family line. My brother Bert, whose wife has passed, lives alone in an apartment managed by Ricky. My younger brother Terrence moved to Boston in his youth, and only 3 years ago, at 45, he married Libby, a woman 3 years his junior. Libby was already 42 when they married, and now at 45, she's still the youngest among us. Terrence and Libby, having lived in New York City for a long time and being unmarried, naturally have no children. Both having lived single lives for so long, they are careless with money, and have little concept of saving or frugality. Especially since they both work, they prefer outsourcing daily chores to keep life light and easy. A city lifestyle mindset. Very different from my rural one. And this woman, Libby, clearly looked down on me. As a woman, she's about 12 years younger than me, still vibrant and confident, wearing trendy makeup and accessories with natural grace. I, on the other hand, am more modest. At 60, working a part-time insurance job, I'm not particularly flashy or outstanding. Though I work, I'm not an ambitious career woman, so I live a moderately comfortable life with Ricky, relatively simple and unassuming. Ricky likes to drink, but I'm not much of a drinker myself. In terms of external qualities, I seem to be generally inferior to Libby, and she was very much aware of it. So, at Terrence and Libby's wedding at a renowned hotel in Boston, Libby looked at me and said, "Bridget, thank you for coming today. You should have dressed up more, no need to be shy." I managed a strained smile and replied, "Well, this is good enough for me." Her clearly biased remark and the sense of inferiority it brought made me feel suffocated being there. With that past, Terrence and Libby were moving to Alaska. They worked at the same company and were transferring to the Anchorage office together. From what I heard from Ricky, my brother Bert had learned from Terrence over a phone call that this move wasn't exactly a promotion. They had been working at the headquarters in Boston, and it seemed more like a demotion following some failure. Terrence, also born in Alaska like me, felt a bit like he was moving from the city back to the countryside. But Terrence and Libby didn't seem too shocked by the move, and visited our house first before settling anywhere else. Our home is just a 15-minute drive from their Anchorage office, which made it convenient for them to temporarily stay with us. We agreed to host them thinking it wouldn't be much trouble. However, living together turned out to be more challenging than I had anticipated. Upon arriving, "Bridget, long time no see. We'll be in your care. I'm part of this house now, so I can use it freely, right?" Libby said. Despite feeling that it was my place to offer, "Yes, feel free to use it. It's good to stay here while you look for your own place," I responded. Libby suddenly asked, "Yeah, sure, I'll take my time. Do you have any alcohol?" Taken aback by her audacity, I replied, "We have some beer and liqueur." To which Libby said, "No wine or whiskey? That's disappointing. Could you possibly go buy some?" And just like that, she had the audacity to ask me, the homeowner, to go buy alcohol for her. Though I was 12 years older, Libby's flashy style contrasted with my modesty, feeding my insecurities and making it hard for me to stand up to my younger sister-in-law. So I obediently responded, "Yes, I can buy them. There's a store nearby." As I put on my coat, Ricky asked, "Bridget, you're going out? Terrence and Libby just arrived, right?" Quickly, Libby twisted the truth, saying, "Oh, I thought we could relax a bit first, but Bridget offered to buy wine and whiskey for us. She said to drink beer and wait comfortably in the meantime. She misrepresented the facts to protect herself and made it seem like my voluntary consideration. This attitude of Libby taking control in every situation became the norm as soon as she arrived at our house. She maintained a good image in front of the men, portraying herself as the perfect wife. I found her personality repulsive, but seeing Ricky and Terrence enjoying life with Libby, I kept my complaints to myself, not even sharing them with Ricky. With Libby around, my weekdays turned into either socializing with colleagues or serving as a housekeeper for the three of them at home, always cooking and serving drinks. Libby's treatment of me escalated. Sometimes in the kitchen she'd say, "Make hot wine today and just whip up something with ham. Can you add that?" She demanded such things as if it was my duty, without contributing to cooking or housework herself. When drunk, she'd come into the kitchen and say, "Look, Bridget, you know what? I'm doing you a favor. There are no children in our family, so technically, I'm the youngest. Eventually, Ricky and you will need my help, right? It's give and take, an investment for the future. We haven't known each other long, and the day you two can move around isn't far. I want you to work hard now. Am I making sense? You understand, right?" Her twisted logic justified her whims, expecting me to comply. Ricky and Terrence, not the type to step into the kitchen, seemed to enjoy having a convenient hostess nearby, oblivious to my struggle. Rather, she made it seem like I enjoyed doing it, so they were under the impression that there was no problem at all. As I cooked various dishes, leftovers accumulated in the fridge from yesterday or the day before. The type of alcohol they drank changed daily, and with it, their demands for matching dishes. On days when they weren't specific, I served from the fridge, prioritizing dishes nearing their expiration. Libby never complained in the living room, but she'd bring her plate to the kitchen later and say, "Bridget, you're so forgetful. You should know that dishes like these don't go with wine nights like today. We should have prosciutto, crackers, and olives. Maybe you don't understand, having not worked much in an office. A mistake like this would be fatal at work. You'd ruin your career instantly. You should take this as a learning opportunity, considering how sheltered you've been, Bridget." She belittled me, treating me like an incapable worker and a servant, forcing me to redo things. After over a month of this, on a bitterly cold day in early February, with snow blanketing the outside, they planned to drink at home again. I prepared dinner as usual. We ate, I washed the dishes, and then it was time for them to enjoy their drinks. As always, I efficiently provided drinks and food, but as they drank more, Libby, who never prepared anything herself, came to the kitchen. "Bridget, I always like this, but can't you be a bit more glamorous and bright? You're so plain and gloomy, it's almost contagious," she said. I was annoyed but replied, "Well, I do wear makeup when I go out for work or shopping during the day, but I usually take it off after coming home early, so as not to disturb everyone's shower time. I guess that's why you see me without makeup often. And yes, I admit I'm naturally plain." I tried to brush it off with a faint smile, but that day Libby was more persistent. "We're staying here till spring because of the high electricity bills. Unlimited AC, so comfy. Bridget, we're borrowing your place for a while, so please leave." So she said. Moreover, it's honestly annoying. I want to have more fun, especially in such a desolate place. You might not understand, she added. I felt something snap inside me and thought, enough is enough. "Sure, good luck with that," I simply replied to Libby. Libby, surprised, said, "What?" but didn't retract her demand to leave. Instead, she quickly went to the living room and said to Ricky and Terrence, "Hey, Bridget seems to be saying she'll leave the house for a bit. I'm worried. Is she okay?" She acted like a concerned sister, making her own motives. Terrence was quite drunk, slurring, "Sis, what are you talking about?" Ricky, however, showed genuine concern and unusually came to the kitchen. "Bridget, what's going on? Are you okay?" he asked. Ricky has always been kind to me, and as the head of the household, our relationship was largely based on me supporting him. This balance was good, but it was disrupted since Libby moved in. I wasn't angry with Ricky, but more saddened by his inability to notice my suffering and emotional changes. Trying to be strong, I told him, "Bro called me over for a bit. so I'm heading to his apartment. Don't worry. I grabbed just enough belongings to get by and left the house that night. Later, I emailed Ricky saying I had some matters to attend to and would be staying a few days at Bro's, but I'd contact him when I returned. The snow was deep, making it difficult to reach Bro's apartment, but after calling ahead, Bro warmly welcomed me. I arrived at his place. Bro Bert had lost his wife to cancer 5 years ago and had been living alone since he was 58, now 63. That night, I told Bro everything that had happened over the month, crying as I spoke. I said, I never thought I'd be treated so harshly and excluded by someone younger at this age, and I don't intend to return to that house. Bro welcomes me. There's no rush. You can stay here as long as you need. And he kindly said, he's always been a kind and reliable man to me. A couple of days later, Ricky called me midday. Bridget, where are you? Have you finished work? There's somewhere I need you to go, sounding panicked. I asked, what happened? Ricky asked again, have you finished work? To which I replied, I was on part-time duty this morning, so I'm back at Bro's apartment now. Ricky, out of breath, I need you to go to the city hospital right away. Libby has had an accident. Terrence is away on a business trip and I can't get out of a dinner meeting with a client today. You're the only one who can go. Can you please check on her for me? He urgently asked me. I agreed. Yes, I'll go there. I ended the call, hailed a taxi, and headed to the city hospital. At the hospital, after Libby received various treatments and an MRI, I waited in the hallway. Once done, she was moved on a stretcher to a private room. After the nurse briefed me on her condition and left, I was alone with Libby in the room. I asked her, what exactly happened? Libby's face was half covered in gauze, only one eye visible. Her head was bandaged, her left arm and leg were in casts, and tears flowed from her open eye as she tried to explain, overwhelmed with emotion. I'm so sorry. I might be done for. Bridget, please help me. I'm too embarrassed to ask Ricky in this state, and Terrence will probably find it bothersome. You're the only one I can ask, but I've been awful to you. I'm really sorry. She sobbed and apologized. Libby, relax. First, tell me what happened. After composing herself, Libby explained. Sorry, after you left, I didn't realize how intense the snow shoveling would be. I took the day off as work was impossible, but the next day I had to go. Terrence was away and Ricky left after me. I was already upset doing the shoveling alone, but I had to rush to work on my bike through the snow. I had urgent work from yesterday to catch up on. I took a shortcut through an alley to reach the main road. At a blind crossroad with a wall obstructing the view, a 500cc bike hit me from the right. I found myself face down on the ground, blood on the snow. My nose and cheekbone were broken, and I think I flew off and landed on my left side. My collarbone, left arm, and wrist are broken. My left leg has a complex fracture, which might lead to permanent damage. The biker had minor injuries. I also hit my head and got an MRI, but I don't have the detailed results yet. They said my face might not fully recover. I feel completely broken. Libby explained her story. Hearing this sequence of events, I felt a sense of relief, despite knowing it was inappropriate to feel this way about someone who had been cruel to me, but was now severely injured. It seemed like a form of divine retribution. The moment I left, the household balance was disrupted, and she struggled with the snow shoveling, something typical in our snowy region. Hurrying to work after taking a day off led to this accident, which seemed entirely her own doing. I'm not one for revenge, and that wasn't my intention. However, feeling that Libby needed to take responsibility, I steeled myself and confronted her in the hospital room. Libby, you're really foolish. Who are you apologizing to? I started. Libby, seemingly broken, didn't argue and said, Yes, I know I can't be forgiven. I have no one else to rely on now. I'm in this state, and the doctor said there might be lasting effects. I'm sorry for everything I've done to you. Libby said this with tears in her eyes. What exactly are you apologizing for? I don't understand, I coldly asked. Every day, I made you do all the housework, drank every night, and made you cook and buy alcohol, treating you like a slave. I was the worst person. I always tried to look good in front of Ricky and Terrence. It was all for my selfish heart. I was younger, beautiful and confident I could seduce any man. But now I've lost everything. I'm not beautiful, useful, young, and I can't live without someone's care." "And then?" I asked. I was determined to let her speak for herself. Libby said, "Even so, I still want to live. I can't die looking like this, and I don't want to die, I want to live. So I'm truly sorry for everything I've done. I am really, really sorry. I apologize, I'm sorry. Whatever I can do as I recover from these injuries, I will do anything. So please, help me, take care of me. I may be a burden to you, but please don't abandon me. I'm sorry, please, I beg you." She continued to confess and plead with me. In the heated room, I opened a window, letting in cold air. Watching the snow silently falling outside, I felt my bitterness and darkness fade away like the snowflakes. I turned towards the window, back to Libby, and said, "Never go against me again. That's a promise, understand?" Libby, crying in the background, assured, "Of course, I'm truly sorry." Libby said this, and I could hear her sobbing from behind me.